Every human being dreams, every night, for roughly 2 hours. Dreams occur primarily during REM sleep, which stands for Rapid Eye Movement, a stage where the brain is almost as active as it is when you're awake, even though your body is completely paralyzed. This is when imagination spikes, logic dissolves, and the brain rehearses memories, emotions, and ideas. In fact, if you don't remember your dreams, it's not because you didn't have them, it's because your brain deleted them. Most dreams vanish within minutes of waking up. Movement, light, and screens accelerate the process, which means if you check your phone first thing in the morning, you're basically speed running amnesia.
Hello there, I am Chase and I don't remember my dreams, which is annoying because apparently I have them. Everybody does, I just didn't get the memo. Occasionally I'll wake up with a brilliant idea, usually something surreal, magical, or deeply impractical, and I'll think, oh, that must have come from a dream, but I don't remember the dream, which is like waking up without the punchline, and no joke. I've realised that part of the problem might be that I am aggressively organised. For example, every morning I set aside exactly 15 minutes to scroll through social media the moment I wake up, because nothing says project fragile dream memory like immediately injecting your brain with ads, rage, and a man explaining productivity in a forest. Apparently, and this shocked me, you're not supposed to do that. Also, I worked out my sleep cycle a few years ago. Mine is 3 hours, which means if I sleep for 3, 6, or 9 hours, I feel amazing. Which is why everyone thinks I don't sleep, and why I am constantly, inexplicably, too awake. However, as it turns out, and again I hate this, you do most of your dreaming towards the end of your REM cycle, which means that while I've been optimizing my life for efficiency, I may have accidentally been deleting my dreams like an absolute idiot. So, I want to see if I can fix this. Not philosophically, not spiritually, but practically. I want to see if I can train myself to remember my dreams and maybe eventually learn how to use them. I'll be changing how I wake up, how I sleep, and how I treat my brain in the first 5 minutes of the day. This might not work, but if it does, I might finally find out what on earth my brain's been doing all night. Also, I'm a magician, and if my subconscious has been coming up with ideas without telling me, well, I'd quite like a word.
So it's currently about 5 minutes to 11 on the 12th of January 2026, day 1 of trying to remember my dreams, at least, if the theory says. Now, I've done a bit of research, and apparently the research says I need to do a sleep journal, and because it's all about intention and what you're supposed to do, the first intention is to write today's date. So it is the 12th of January 2026. Right, and then it says keep it by my bedside table. I don't know if you can see it on camera, but I've already got quite a lot of notebooks. They're all my magic notebooks because, like I've said already, I have a lot of ideas in the middle of the night. So this will just add to the collection of my dream journal. The other thing I saw in my research was to, and I hate this kind of saying, but like manifest what's going to happen. So like I said, it's about 11 o'clock at night. I've got a bit of editing to do for the Chasing the Illusion channel for tomorrow's video, so I'm going to stay up, do a bit of that until about midnight, so that way I get my 6 hours sleep, so I'm getting up at 6 o'clock in the morning tomorrow for my muggle job. So that's what I'll be doing. But yes, the manifestation, it says that I must say I will remember my dreams tonight. And the other thing I need to say is I will not touch my phone when I wake up. And technically I've already done it right. So here's tonight one. I'll let you know how I get on in the morning. Hopefully it works. It'll be a short video if it is. Well, good morning. It is now about 6:30 in the morning. I woke up, had a good 6 hours sleep. The hack works, I feel nice and awake. I haven't checked my phone at all this morning, so that's quite good. But as you can see by my notes, I don't remember anything. I literally wrote nothing, absolutely nothing. When I was doing my research, it said to kind of notice how you feel in the mornings when you wake up, because that might give an indication on what your dreams were. I didn't feel anything. I felt kind of neutral. So I'm going to try it again, exactly the same thing tonight. And if that doesn't work, I think we need to up it to the next level.
2 days later.
Right, night number 3, 14 of the 1st, 2026. After the disappointment of day number 1 and day number 2 / night number 2, I'm going to change it up a little bit. I'm going to do exactly the same thing. But when I was doing research, it said to, when you wake up, figure out what emotion you're feeling. So it could literally be an emotion, and that should be able to give you a inkling on what your dream was, even if you remember it or not. So tonight, well, when I wake up, I'm going to try to, as soon as I wake up, think about what I'm feeling, apart from being tired, obviously. And that might be able to give an inkling. If I still don't remember anything yet, I think it's time to take it to the next level. Alright, night number 3. Something minimal has happened, but it's still progress. Like I said, I was going to write down any sort of emotion that I felt in the morning. And first of all, I kind of felt excited. Not in that way that most guys feel in the morning. Get your head out the gutters. Just excited for the day. So I don't know what that means for the dreams, but it also, I also wrote ready to start the day as well. So yeah, that's something, I guess. But I do think it's time to change the tactics for tonight. Okay, so it's now the evening of the 15th of January, and like I said, literally for you guys who have just started watching, I need to start upping the game. Also, I've realised that you're probably thinking, why am I so awake compared to earlier in these test videos? Well, that's because you've been seeing me as soon as I'm going to bed, and you've been seeing me as soon as I wake up, give or take a couple of minutes. So, hello, this is crazy chase mode that you're currently witnessing. So, how are we going to up it tonight? Well, as I said, you've seen me in sleepy mode chase, and unfortunately I think that's going to get a little bit worse, because as you know, I've worked out my REM cycle, and my REM cycle is 3 hours, so that means I need to have a multiple of 3 hours sleep, so 3, 6 or 9 hours sleep. But with that issue, I need to break that mould, which means me waking up and being groggy during the day, but it's all for this video. So, how does that work and why am I going to do it? Well, I'm so glad you asked. I'm going to attempt to wake up an hour earlier than what I'm supposed to. So tomorrow, I need to get up at 7:30 for work, my muggle job. But if I get up at 6:30, that breaks down my REM cycle and wakes me up slap bang in the middle of it. So the plan is that I wake up an hour earlier than what I'm supposed to do. So I still plan to have 6 hours sleep. So if I need to get up at 7:30, I'll go to bed at 1:30. Yes? Maths. I'll work it out. But I will set my alarm for 6:30, an hour earlier. Oh, this is making my brain hurt. Just thinking about it. That essentially, theoretically, should wake me up midpoint or during my REM cycle when I'm dreaming. So once I do that, set the alarm, close my eyes. Obviously don't fall back asleep, but relax. Think about exactly what I was just thinking, write it down as soon as it happens. Maybe we'll get a little bit better results than what I've ever written down so far. Yeah, hopefully we'll get better results than nothing, absolutely nothing, still nothing, and excited, ? Ready to start the day. I guess it's not the end of the world. Okay, so it is now a little bit later the next day, and we've had some improvement. So me waking up a whole hour earlier, disrupting my REM cycle, clearly worked. And here's the reason why. I woke up an hour earlier, disrupting that REM cycle, and in that moment I remembered what I was dreaming, and I wrote it down, and it's really weird. So Noel Fielding and Sandy from Bake Off, obviously Sandy does it with Alison, not Sandy, Noel Fielding does it with Alison Hammond now. I'm a Bake Off fan, leave that alone. They were in the Bake Off tent and they went to an all-you-can-eat buffet, but it wasn't food, it was Pepsi Max, and then they went on a tour in wheelchairs. But here's the most interesting thing about this whole situation. Don't get me wrong, the dream is amazing in the first place, but as I was writing it, this is literally, I've wrote it here, there is more, but I'm forgetting it as I write. Genuinely, and like I said, this is later in the day now, and I could not remember for the life of me this dream until I looked back in that notebook. Which tells me that the issue is that I'm not dreaming, which we obviously thought, is the fact that I don't remember for the dreams. So I wake up and, like I said, the first thing I used to do was check my phone, go on social media, forget about it, go on for the rest of my day, and I didn't remember my dreams. But because I'm writing them down as soon as it happens, I forget during the day. But looking back at it, I now remember it, right? So again, I think this time what I need to do to help me remember my dreams is do exactly the same thing again tonight. And again, this is through the research that I've been doing. I need to do exactly the same thing tonight, wake up an hour earlier, disrupt my REM cycle, and write down exactly what I remember, what I feel, and look back at it during the day. I'm going to look back at it during the day and just keep remembering it and see what we can do from there. A lot of the other research is what I might do depending on how tired I am. I mean, today I've been really groggy. Again, it's the reason why I'm filming it a bit later. I've been quite groggy because I've messed up my sleep cycle. So clearly that 3 hour for me REM cycle thing really does work. because I've been really groggy today. I was supposed to go out tonight and I didn't, because yeah, it's clearly messing with the sleep cycle, but I'm doing it for the video. So tonight I'm going to set my alarm an hour and 5 minutes earlier than what I should, and in doing so, in the 5 minutes, I'm going to really try and remember, once I've written it down, try and remember what I've wrote down in those 5 minutes, and then get on with the rest of my day, and then during the day, check it to see what I remembered. Because I think that's what it's all come down to. It's not that I don't dream. I think it's got down to the fact that I just don't remember them. And usually when I woke up in the morning, I thought of essentially I didn't remember them in the first place because I didn't have them. But clearly me writing them down jogs a memory, and I do clearly remember them as soon as I wake up. So it's progress. Anyway, I believe it is now time, in a couple of hours anyway, to have the next night, which will be, what date is it today? The 16th of January. So, last night something crazy happened. Not only did I have a dream, but I also had a nightmare. And I somewhat remembered it. Now, shall I go into detail what that nightmare was? Probably not, but this is all about me oversharing, I guess. So, in the middle of the night, I had a nightmare and I wrote it down, and then I went back to sleep. Then I had another dream and wrote it down. Nightmare was my mother was disappointed in me. Hits a nerve, thank you very much. And then I watched some TV and the horror movie was on. Then I went to the kitchen and the character was there. And now I'm filming in the kitchen, so PTSD, thank you very much, Chase. Then I went back to sleep, didn't think of anything of it, and I woke up with the alarm, breaking my REM cycle, which I think actually my REM cycle is now a little bit changed because I woke up in the middle of the night to write this out. But anywho, we move on. The dream was, I was at my nan's house randomly, and there was a knock on the door, and there was like this scientific device, tube-like thing, and then it activated, and then randomly there was an arc reactor from Iron Man in my chest, which is funny because it's also an Iron Man top, or a top that RDJ wears. And it activated in my chest, and then bits of the Iron Man armour started flying towards me from like Iron Man 3. And that's where the dream ended. But again, randomly enough, it's now, my time's wrong. So if you can see that time, it's wrong. All my clocks are wrong in my house. Don't ask why. Yeah, so it's about 2 o'clock-ish, and I don't remember the dreams unless I read them out. As soon as I read them out, yep, then I start remembering. So again, I'm going to have to do the same thing again tonight. Going to write them out, but I think every hour what I'm going to do, I'm going to set up a notification on my phone to say, try to remember your dreams. So from the moment I wake up, so again, messing up with my REM cycle again, I'm going to wake up an hour earlier than what I'm supposed to. I'm going to mess up the REM cycle. I'm going to set an alarm every hour to try and remember it and see if that at least helps me try to recover whatever thing I'm forgetting or whatever the reason is. I think that's the plan for tonight / tomorrow. Okay, so last night I had another dream and I remembered it, so clearly me waking up an hour early is clearly messing with that REM cycle and working like that very much. Problem is, the dream that I had was quite mundane and boring. It was just me playing cards, like shuffling them and playing solitaire. Real boring. But as we know, at this point, my issue is that I need to try to remember the dreams themselves. So I set an hourly reminder every hour today, obviously, to try to remember what that dream was. And it seemed to work. I was remembering the dreams. Here's the next problem. I went to see the new Avatar movie today, and as we know, that's like 3 hours long, so I couldn't have those hourly reminders. This was later in the day, about 6 o'clock, I ended up watching it. So about 9 o'clock after the film, I tried to remember what that dream was, and I remembered that it was playing cards. Literally, I haven't looked at it since my journal since I got up this morning. So I think we're definitely making progress. Even the most boring dreams I am remembering. They're not me becoming Iron Man like it was the other day, or a nightmare, you know, an exciting nightmare. So yeah, that's something. But I think stage 5, is this stage 5 now? I don't know. The next stage will be me trying to remember the dreams without setting myself a reminder, just remembering the dreams itself. But I think we've done really well with the progress so far, thinking about it, the fact that I never at least dreamt, to now dreaming fully, to then remembering the dreams on a reminder. So, and this has only been, what, a couple of days? So we're definitely having some progress. I'm not sure how I feel about waking up an hour earlier though, because it is really messing with my moods during the day. So maybe that will come into a next stage, who knows. But I think for tomorrow, well, I'm going to sleep tonight, do the same thing, get up an hour earlier, and I think the thing for tomorrow will be to try to remember them without it being every hour. I think that's the plan. Wish me luck. Okay, so we've had a little bit of a setback, not in terms of dreams, but in terms of during the day stuff. So last night I actually had 3 dreams, and they were incredibly quirky. Just to show that your subconscious does mess with your mind, because obviously I went to see Avatar last night, and I had a dream. What was that noise? I had a dream about Avatar, or that I was one of the people, and I was running. Obviously, I'm heading towards what the problem is. I was one of the Na'vi people, or the Sky people, and I was running around Pandora. So that was a cool dream. Just shows that your subconscious is always playing with it. Second dream, Jurassic Park. This is so random. Obviously, I love films, as you'll see in later videos. I got flown in as a scientist, and then the volcano erupted, and I had to help people get off the island whilst fighting dinosaurs. It sounded epic. It was a little bit sad at times. Genuinely, it was like watching a movie, only I was the main character. It was great. I love dinosaurs. Yeah, that was fun. And then this is where it starts getting really weird. Anton Dubek had a dinner, but the food was absolutely awful, and sitting next to me was Gordon Ramsay. And me and Gordon Ramsay left, and we watched a TV show. That was the dream. It's interesting because I'm looking back at this now, because obviously the main issue is that I can't remember them, and I did really well yesterday with the notifications, but today I didn't really think about them at all. And before I set up the camera, for the life of me, I could not remember what the dreams were. The only thing I could remember is that one of them was to do with Avatar, and the only reason was because I saw the film yesterday. And obviously I remember seeing the film yesterday. So I think dreams-wise it's great. I am definitely dreaming, but memory-wise not a great day. So I'm going to do exactly the same again that I did today, tomorrow. But I'm going to consciously remind myself to remember the dreams without an actual notification. Hopefully that works. So we've definitely hit a setback the last few days. I didn't remember any of my dreams today, and it's not because I wrote them down and couldn't remember them. It's actually the fact that last night I still set my alarm an hour early, still, tried to remember everything, but as soon as I woke up, there is it. See that? As soon as I woke up, nothing. So again, I've done a bit of research on what I need to do next, because I do think this is definitely a setback. Basically, no more setting the alarm an hour earlier. My REM cycle needs to get back into a habit. So, sleep again, like usual. Hopefully it'll make me a little bit less groggy, because, trust me, I've not been myself during the days. That's why I haven't been filming during the day, more towards the night times. Or in the mornings, even, as well. So hopefully that will sort out my mental headspace. But as soon as I wake up, write down anything. So get back into my REM cycle sleep. And try and do it. Because if this doesn't work, I don't know what to do from here. Maybe I film my first Can I episode, which is not great for the series. Okay, so next update. Obviously last night I slept my usual routine, 3 hour REM cycle, so it was 6 hours ahead. Went to bed at 12, woke up at 6, normal time. And considering that the only times I have remembered my dreams over the last week, because it's been over a week now that I've been doing this, the only times I've remembered my dreams has been when I woke up early and disrupted my REM cycle until tonight. So, like I said, had my normal sleep schedule, 6 hours sleep, set my alarm, woke up, wrote down my dream because I remembered my dream as soon as I woke up, and last night before I went to bed I was watching the new series of SAS Who Dares Wins. Don't judge me. And when I woke up, I dreamt I was on SAS Who Dares Wins. So again, my subconscious is clearly remembering whatever I watched beforehand. But the most interesting thing is, and I wrote this down as well, because every morning I always check my I don't know if you can see that. I've got another little notebook here, and I always check that notebook every morning when I get up, because, well, it's my creative notebook and I have it next to my bed because I wake up and I write stuff down and I don't remember where it came from, and that's what happened last night. But I don't remember writing anything down, so I think it happened in the middle of the night. Yeah, so that must have happened in the middle of the night. I'm not going to show you what that idea was because it's a future magic idea, possibly in the future, this year, maybe. I need to work on it, but that's interesting. And this is the kind of vibe that I'm happy to go for because, by the way, the SAS dream, I've remembered that dream all throughout today without any reminders. So I think we're definitely going back to progressing, and I think I can live with this for the rest of my life. I think I can set my normal sleep cycle with my REM cycle wake up, write down my dream, try to remember them, and then in the middle of the night, if I have a creative burst and I write down, I don't remember that, I think I can live with that. So I think for the next couple of nights, I'll just keep doing that, and I'll write down my progress and my process and see where we get.
Okay, so it's been a couple of days since I've filmed a little section of this video. The reason because it wasn't that interesting. I've stuck to waking up at my normal REM cycle, sleep cycle, and writing down ideas that I get with magic, and also writing down my dreams. And it's been working. And I've also been remembering my dreams as it's happening. So I think this might be a little bit of a boring conclusion to the first Can I video, but in a way it isn't, because I've done it. I've remembered how to dream. I've learned how to dream, which was the part of the Can I, right? It's can I learn how to dream? But what I found out is that I can, and I already do dream. The problem was trying to remember how to dream. So I think I've finally done it. I am now getting my normal amount of sleep, my 3, 6, 9, not I have 12 hours, but 3, 6 or 9 hours worth of sleep, and I'm remembering them, and I'm still being creative with my ideas in the middle of the night, which is perfect, really. But like I said, I think that is the perfect conclusion to the Can I episode of this, the Can I learn how to dream, because the answer is yes, I can. So yeah, that's the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe if you are interested in me learning new stuff. I've got so many more plans on different Can I's and everything else that I've got planned for this channel already. So if you want to join me on the rides, please subscribe, and yeah, thank you so much for watching again, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.